Dave here. Have a question for you guys. You ever get caught up in rules? You ever get caught up in being religious? Matter of fact, to the point where you're almost overbearing, where you kind of expect everybody else to follow the same rules that you want to follow. Think about your own home for just a moment here. Do you get caught up into a place with your kids where it has to be followed by all these different rules and regulations, and if it doesn't happen exactly the way you want it, you get really upset with your kids? If you have rules and expectations for your teenagers and they don't follow and do everything that you expect, that you just blow up? What happens if people don't act like how you want them to act in church or be the way you expect them to be in church, and then you get upset at them? We do this. Many people do it. I used to get caught up into this big time. When I was in college, I expected everybody to act the way I did. I was an absolute Pharisee, guys. And you know what a Pharisee is? An idiot. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. A Pharisee is one who follows and tries to follow rules rather than having a relationship with God. I took pride in knowing the Bible really well and able to beat up people with it and basically put them into submission religiously and theologically to the point they would have to lose the argument with me. I would not stop until I wanted that argument. I wanted to win that argument. Here's the problem. It doesn't help anything. Matter of fact, it puts you in a poor place when you get off of relationship and onto rules, and it puts you in a place of, I think, a false sense of power, okay? And what's interesting about this, in Matthew chapter 12, the Pharisees, were following Jesus around. Jesus was doing a lot of stuff, and he had just told everybody, hey, come and follow me. Put your yoke, take my yoke upon yourself. Let me work this life with you rather than doing it on your own. And rather than trying to do these 613 laws of the Torah, so you end up getting driven in the ground by religious rules. What Jesus then said after that is he basically addressed the Pharisees, Sadducees, and scribes with what's called the Sabbath. The Sabbath is a day of rest, right? God had created the world 6 days, and then he took a day of rest, and he wanted his people to do the same. And that rest really is focusing on him, praising him, loving him, and giving a day fully for him. And really, every day should be a Sabbath for all of us. We're giving it to the Lord, right? But he wanted that specific day. And what happened is the religious leaders started adding to that. They started adding laws, started adding all this junk to the point where you couldn't do anything at all, or you'd be breaking the law and not living a good Jewish life, okay? Sound familiar to anybody in here as far as your own Christian life? So Jesus said something to these guys as they were doing this. He said in verse 8 of chapter 12 in Matthew, he said, "For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." What happened with the people back then is that they were so caught up in being lords of the Sabbath and telling everybody else what to do, that they had the Lord of the Sabbath right in front of them, and they ignored him. Let's not be those kind of people. Let's not get caught up in all the rules and regulations. What I'm saying is, let's be in a relationship with God. And that means that relationship needs to be with grace and truth. See, here's the problem in the churches today, and we all get caught up in this. There are people that are far way over into the grace side of things where they don't even look at the Bible and don't care anything about the Bible. And then there are people who are so far over to the truth side of it that they only speak the truth, grab the Bible, hit people over the head, have no love for anybody. We need to be people who are both people of grace and truth. And we'll talk about that later on this week. But that's what we need to be. So let's look this week as people of grace and truth. And let's look at our lives today and see if we're caught up a little pharisaical stuff instead of building our relationship with the Lord of the Sabbath and not be our own lords of the Sabbath, trying to control us and everyone else around us, okay? Guys, have a great week. Watch what everybody's going to talk about this week. It's going to be a lot of fun.